I resisted the urge to lay the envelopes out on the dining room table like a tarot reading. I see a tall, dark bill collector in your future. Tossed the junk mail aside and carried the rest into the kitchen. Turned on the radio and began filling the tea kettle with tap water. The graveyard shift makes it easy to disconnect. You sleep while the rest of the world works, plays, lives. Then you rise and go forth while everyone else is in bed, dead to the world. The nightly newscast was my daily ritual for reconnecting. Plus, keeping tabs on the competition is de rigueur when you work in radio. I set the kettle on the stove to boil, thumbed through the envelopes that obviously contained bills, and then, believing you start with the bad news first, opened the one from the insurance company. I expected an argument over last month's billing for lab tests and blood work. Instead, there were 2 checks inside, both made payable to me. One for $25,000 and the other for $10,000. It had taken almost a full year, but they had finally gotten around to rewarding me for killing my wife and daughter. The tiled bathroom walls amplified the rattlesnake clatter of the shower, smothering the best efforts of the radio just outside the bathroom door. Muffled music gave way to mumbled talk. By the time I reached for my towel, the newscast was 5 minutes along. I hadn't missed much. The lead story was the national economy, again. Congress still hadn't figured out that it was fiscal madness to spend more money than it was taking in every year. I brushed my teeth as world and national events gave way to regional and local news. New reports of cattle mutilations a couple of counties to the north, and between there and here, a couple of people had disappeared in Lynn and Bourbon counties. Any day now, the local news outlets would start running a short series on UFOs or Satanists. Oh boy. Tonight's icing on the cake, a mysterious murder just across the Missouri state line, but considerably closer to home. An orderly had turned up murdered on the night shift at St. Peter's Regional Medical Center. The Joplin cop shop was tight-lipped, as usual, but rumors were circulating that the remains were found filed in various parts of the hospital records room. The news ended with the announcer observing that while no motive or suspects had been established yet, last night was the first night of the full moon. Nyuk nyuk. Well, actually, it wasn't that facetious a sign-off. The Midwest seems relatively benign to most of the big city coasters, but we make up for our lack of urban angst and high crime rates by occasionally producing monsters that make Dave Berkowitz and Jeff Dahmer look like the Hardy Boys. Come to think of it, Dahmer was one of ours as well. Southeast Kansas has a particularly ghoulish history with more than its share of bloodbaths, hauntings, and just plain weirdness. They run the gamut from the Murray de Cygnus massacre to the bloody benders of the pioneer days to the purported hauntings of the Lightning Creek Bridge, the ghost in Pitt State's McCrae Hall, and the stories that linger amid the crumbled remains of the old Greenbush Church. Even today, those big, empty fields by day aren't always so empty by night. Nope. When the news ends with unusual and unexplained death, the observation of lunar phenomena, and the exhortation to lock your doors and windows, you better listen up, friends and neighbors. It's a good night to stay indoors and clean and oil your guns, and listen to yours truly on the radio. Shaving was never the high point of my evening ablutions, and lately it had become a major nuisance. In spite of slamming 150 waters into the bathroom fixtures, it was getting harder and harder to see what I was doing with the razor. I'd heard of the wasting effect of certain illnesses, but with each passing day, my own reflection seemed to fade before my own eyes. "To be or not to be?" I murmured, peering into the uncooperative mirror. What else had the bard penned? "Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew." Hamlet was a butthead. Tonight I decided, hell with it, and made the 3-day-old beard official. Additional UV protection, I figured.